Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Go Marketing Show and our special series on the business of AI. We are literally going through the exact same process we use to build all of the campaign elements from beginning to end to acquire a 9x ROAS for one of our clients. Some of the stuff we can't show you because that's our secret sauce, but we're going to do our best to demonstrate exactly what pieces of AI we're using to get that type of outcome. And today we are going to dive into how we develop the personas using AI. Now, what made it really unique was we had a really good customer journey to start with. So when we got into producing this, we knew who we were talking to, we knew the talking points, so it made it a lot easier. Today, we're actually going to take a little bit of flipped on the script because we can't show you the exact piece with the client because we can't give away some of her secrets, but we are going to start from scratch. And I honestly, we're just going to do it at will. So the team's going to throw an example at me and we're going to dive in and see if we can create a persona from scratch using our persona builder that we use and we built for clients. So, John, Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you for
Thanks.
having us. Happy Friday.
Yeah.
Same to you. I love recording these on Fridays. I'm in such better mood. Sunny outside, no more hurricane rain. Um, One of the biggest things I think I have seen since we started using AI. Now, before I dive in, I want to get your feedback on how helpful has this been? I mean, you guys have both been agency side for 3 years now, a little more. Most times you get a brief. What is the persona document, or when someone says, yeah, this is who I'm targeting, what is that normally like pre persona when we work?
I don't think we would even go through the process of putting together a persona document before we started using the AI tools. A brief wouldn't contain something that specific. It would be like kind of a high level overview of who the target is, but it's not a detailed, you know, um, thing that we can actually use to significantly make a like impact on these campaigns that we're executing.
Agreed. John, even for your perspective when you're creating content, like what were you normally getting in, let's say, a creative brief?
Yeah, definitely it would only ever be the um what the expected output was would all be what I got. And I think the one thing that we always talk about is if you it's garbage in, garbage out, right? So I was kind of getting very little on the input side of things of what all needs to go into a project to make it actually successful and to make it actually reach the people that you want and speak to the people that you want it to. So um, it's amazing that we ever did anything without creating these documents because it just makes it so much easier to actually get to who you're trying to get to.
I mean, was there really even marketing before AI? Like, was it done well at all? Um, I love it because one of the things I've always said is if you want really good storytelling, you have to have really strong context. And that only comes if you know who you're talking to. And most people, I mean, we some clients will be like, yeah, here's our persona, and it's kind of like a half pager, or they'll be like, oh, here's some data we got from Google Analytics or targeting. But what I have found, and what's been one of the most profound differences for us, is we're able to craft very, very detailed personas in a way that shows us how to speak to the person, what their pain points are, what their problem sets are, what they're concerned with, how they make decisions, and most importantly, their tree of beliefs. And once you can create a persona that's identifying their belief structure, creating content and creating ads becomes easier. So, guys, given that we are getting ready for an ad conference, what is a target that we should pursue or a brand that we should pursue to create one of these for?
Why not one of the biggest brands in agriculture? What if we do John Deere?
So we're going after big green tractor. I love
Yeah,
it. All right.
Ambitious.
manifestation.
Listen, John Deere, if you're listening to this, we would love to work with you. And I know we can help you, and let's hopefully show you how. So, anytime I start a bigger problem, this is a little bit beyond this episode, but this is just something in terms of like everyday life. This is how I use AI just because it makes it easier. Download this app here. This is Chat GPT app. We will put a link to it in the show notes wherever you're watching this. But I will tell you, this app makes life so much easier because you can talk to it. And it is conversational. It's called Chat GPT for a reason. You just want to have a conversation. I will typically use this to get started, to give context. We'll throw a screen share in this. I'll take some screenshots. So when this is edited down, you will see this on the actual video itself. But all you need to do is hit the little microphone and you're going to talk to it. So let's give this a shot. I'm in the process of creating a persona for John Deere, one of the most world-renowned tractor companies and one of the longest-standing tractor companies in the world. We are going to be focused on their ag segment, so anything around farmers, anything farm adjacent. But I want your help further defining who their farmer segment is. And let's go a little bit deeper for this exercise. Let's actually target the next generation of farmers. So it might be people that are coming into the market, their father, grandfather, they may be diehard John Deere fans, but we need to make sure we don't lose that next up and coming market segment. So help me figure out who their next customer is and how we need to target them using your persona building process. So I've now hit pause. I'm going to let that render. We're going to switch over and I'll do a screen share, but I wanted to do that to give some context. I'm also going to go grab a link to their site and see what it produces. We're going to do this live. I don't know how it's going to come out. Thank God this is recorded, not actually live, so we can edit it down. But let's go ahead and see where it's at. I'm going to give it a second to flip.
I feel like that's even just that might be eye-opening for people to see how detailed your prompt was, and that you didn't just go in there and say, hey, my company is John Deere and I want a persona document. Can you help me make that? Like, you went way deeper than that.
Well, I think that's the advantage of speaking to it versus, just trying to go through and type that. I would never type that in my life. It would take too long. I would get frustrated. So I think for the purposes of just understanding how to use the tool, hopefully people that take that, as you mentioned, as a big takeaway. So here it is. This is what I spoke in there. Now, one small tip, as you will see, this is a custom GPT we built. It's called the Persona Builder. You can find it if you go to the GPT store, but it is trained on a 5-step process on how we build personas. So right now, as you can see here, it is working through kind of who it is, any flagship products. One of the quickest hacks that I like to do, most people have a decent website, especially if they're established brands. More often than not, I typically just like to give them, the website itself and let it go through that. So all I'm going to do here, I'm going to say, can you grab the information from these two websites, 2 links? And first one is going to be about their about. The second one's just going to be their main site. Now, sometimes the sites are too big. This doesn't work, but let's just start here and see what it does. Now, normally, a lot of times we'll actually do this exercise with clients. We'll go through, we'll answer all of the key questions in detail, because more often than not, it gives some more thought-provoking, more in-depth framing on, who is our client? Actually, I never thought about it from this perspective. So taking the time when you do this exercise, if you choose to do it on your own, do it slow, be patient with the process. You're going to get a better outcome. We're going to take the fast way and see how well AI does. Yeah, I love it. It's working fast today. I don't think AI knows it's a Friday. Well, I'm sure it knows it's a Friday, but it's not acting like it.
I also like that the newer models tell you kind of what they're doing, where it's like, oh, we're looking at these websites, or, we're updating our memory with this and blah, blah, blah. So it actually is letting you know exactly what it's working on as it's going.
Yeah. And one other important caveat, when you build these custom GPTs, they're almost trained to work a specific way. So we know the 4-step process. I can pull that up in a minute just to show it to you if you want to see what that is. But it is designed to work in a specific way. So when working with custom GPTs, just understand it's very similar to working with somebody on your team. So if you're not getting the framework that you're thinking of, or if it's not doing what it should, sometimes you just want to remind it. And that's, for example, because I gave it a link, it's not doing that. I'm going to say, and I'm going to paste what we expect phase 1 to look like, which you'll see here. And just give me 1 second, we'll switch over and I'll show you the actual framework we use to share that. we call it the perfect persona playbook. So phase one's about the product details. Phase two helps us dive into who that ideal client is, the KPIs, and then ultimately the brand messaging. This step in phase four is by far probably one of my favorites. It's one of the most clear. And this tree of beliefs is some of that content and context magic really, really comes from. So let me just flip back and see what changes we had. Let's see how we're moving along. Okay, so now it's got most of our information. It's focused on this particular tractor. It's getting all of them. Okay. Now, in the interest of time in this demo, let's just assume that is correct and move on to phase one.
I have to give you credit for being both a host and a producer of this show. So right now.
Hey. Well, I could let you guys do it. You crush it in this. So here's where it gets exciting. And this is where I flip back and forth. So it's starting to ask some demographic questions. So if we're trying to sell that tractor, now I'm going to flip back to my phone. At some point it'd be great when they start to integrate all this. If you have the M1 chip and you're on a Mac, they do have an app you can use on this. I haven't upgraded my equipment, so unfortunately I got to do this the lazy way and go back and forth. But okay, so I'm going to look at my screen, see what it's asking. I'm going to go the auditory route instead of typing. From a demographics perspective, we want that next generation farmer. Typically, they're probably age 35 to 50, maybe a little bit younger, maybe male or female. We are seeing a lot of daughters come back to the farm, so we don't want to skew either way. If anything, we may want to create two different avatars to target. Geographically, they're going to typically be in the Corn Belt regions, which is the Midwest United States for this particular exercise. Education, they're probably very well educated, have hands-on experience, maybe have gone through 4-H, as well as some type of finance program or some type of farm management program, and probably have a college degree, potentially a master's. Psychographically, the ones coming back to the farm, they're business people. They get work-life balance might not be a thing during planting and harvest season, but during the rest of the year, it really will be dependent on running that business, learning, connecting with new farmers. They might have some other interest in secondary businesses. They're motivated by the success of their crop. Everything comes down to yield for them and running a profitable business and potentially figuring out how to grow their business, how to acquire more land, how do I run it profitably, challenges and frustrations, use the internet. Obviously, all the staples are there, weather, things that, any type of insects that may damage crops, etc. But really trying to run an efficient business, especially trying to acquire new land, given the interest rates and the expense of how much weather or how much land costs, huge challenge. Behaviorally, you guys can go ahead and fill this in on your own. Just give us best examples. And then buying triggers. I think a lot of the new purchase equipment's going to come down to how it contributes to their farm. This is a B2B transaction. So be specific about the business benefits, any finance things that you have that make it easier to acquire. But at the end of the day, it comes down to yield. Might come down to some tax things if it makes more sense to buy and write down equipment. Okay, it is just processing that. We'll get that in there.
I love that like seeing you do this by voice, I think is such a good example of how, like, I think a lot of people have a misconception that it's really difficult to use these things and you have to know how to know technology really well to be able to do this. But like, if you just know what you're know what you're talking about your company, like you just showed, like, all the things. If this was a John Deere sales rep, they know all these things about the company, and you can just talk, and it takes all of the difficult process of writing this document, it takes all of it out of it. You just have to know the information, and it'll give you the output that you want, as long as you're giving it the level of detail that you just gave it.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. And it's so funny because most of our new clients actually come from me being at events, me playing golf, and I'm like, oh, AI is easy to use. Just talk to her. Like, what? And I pull up the app and we go through this exact exercise. But even with us, a lot of times we'll sit down and do client interviews, whether that's Zoom, Teams, you name it. and we actually process the transcript to be able to give these answers. So there are multiple ways you want to do this. If you're doing this internally with your team, literally go through the process, or tell you what, you want the persona playbook, just send us a comment. I'll give you the playbook and you can go ask the questions with your team and just prepare and put them in. So we go through this with every single client we walk them through this process now, because the depth we are able to create in personas makes everything we do easier, whether it's writing content, whether it's writing email campaigns, creating ad targeting, or at least the assumptions of where should I start with targeting. It's unbelievable. Let me just see if it populated and if it's updated its workflow. And I'll share that screen again just so you can see. Yeah. Perfect. So here are some more in-depth things. So let's just take a quick look. So it basically put in some of that. It felt in some other things for me, answered those questions. And now let's have it go move on to phase 3.
Nice.
Actually, let me show you one thing, because this part's rather important. I can tell it to go a little bit deeper. Can you guys see the screen still?
Yep.
Beauty.
Yeah, that was a good call.
Okay. So see, one thing, and it's probably one of my favorite words, or you can call it a prompt if you want. Just say go deeper or expand on that or tell me more.
Mm-hmm.
Those little things, like if you look from work-life balance, I didn't mention technological, I can't even say it, technology savvy, but you can tell like it's just adding a bit more context than I may have thought. It's really good at taking that 1 degree leap into the next subject matter for you. So look at this, tech adoption. For John, knowing what's in their tractor, like that'd be a huge miss on my part. Had we not said, hey, go a bit deeper. Mm-hmm. Technology in farming is massive, but I kind of missed that part. This is helping fill some of those gaps, as you can tell. Yeah, this is way deeper. I love that tax piece. See, I didn't even mention Lisa's trade ends and stuff while that was creating that. All right, let's have it go to phase 2. Okay, this is my favorite part, which is letting it do it. Like this step is one I love when it goes on from there, just to see what names it comes up with.
Nice, Michael and Sarah. Right.
Yeah, those, see, I didn't even ask for these critical insights, but
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, see, this is my favorite part every time. Like the cool part for me, like I'm a big fan of Story Brand by Donner Miller. It is probably one of the best modern copywriting books since Breakthrough Advertising. And these types of components, like the key motivations, the primary challenges, the pain points, like you can almost picture who Michael is. Ironically enough, we could actually take this and say, give me a prompt to go into an image generator like Midjourney and create a physical image, which maybe we'll do that later or as a bonus episode. But, these are the types of things. Look, JD Link, it went back and cited a particular product they have.
You could get DALL-E, just get DALL-E to make the person right now.
Yeah, I could, but DALL-E's so bad at it.
Wouldn't have a face.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want like a character, but if you want like real life near images, it's pretty crazy. We'll do that in a bonus episode for everybody. One thing, just more of a bug we're still working through, but in the persona builder, I always want people to make sure that they get the decision tree. So when we get to phase 4, I typically put this prompt in, says, please proceed and make sure you get all of the below outputs. And then I just copy and paste the exact piece from our actual framework here. And again, if you want this framework, send us a DM, hit us up. We're not going to make you go through a landing page or anything. Just message us wherever you're watching this video, and we'll make sure there's an easy way for you to get the persona playbook. Okay. Now, these are the pieces that when you talk about creating copy and building out a persona, this is the meat right here. Like understanding why me, why this, why you, and why now, and why not. If you have these 5 things, you have the background to leverage any proven copywriting framework to produce unbelievable copy, whether that's advertising, whether that's website copy, emails, you name it, because it has rich context at different stages of their buying journey, who they are, and what they really care about. You could also use this type of thing if you're doing pre-research. So say, hey, I need some general assumptions before I'm going to go to the market to validate who my customer is. This is a great way to create either an assumptive one or take some of your data inputs and bring it back. The cool thing now is it's given us some exact quotes in terms of messaging and some elements right there. Okay. Some examples for case studies and some suggestions there. These are more just value adds. You don't have to go down this path. But now it's as simple as going in and copy and pasting these into whatever tool you want, whether it's Word, Notion, Google Docs, you name it. But now you have the makeup of, in less than, I don't know, how long we've been recording here? What do we have time with? 22 minutes. So if we got rid of our banter, let's just say 15 minutes, we have what would be a 5 or 6 page document of who our customer is, what they bought, and how to make it. And just one little bonus example.
Nice. Love a good copywriting framework. The other thing while you're doing that, that's cool that you can do if you want to save even more time is asking it to export it as a document for you into whatever you're looking for. So if you want a Google Doc, you can ask it to save it to your Google Docs and connect your Google account to GPT, and then you don't even have to do that step.
Oh, let's try that. I have not done that. Look at this. Even I'm learning everything every day. See, even like using a proven framework gives us the script and the video stuff. Now, if you want to go real crazy, we can start to link these things into a tool called HeyGen, or there's some ad generators where you can generate scripts and have almost near influencers via AI create stuff for you. So, but this, and having a persona, is the tip of the spear. That's it, everybody. I mean, that is how we build personas. It was a lot faster. I would suggest if you're doing this on your own, slow down, do the details, dive deep. It'll help you give like all the context you need to get a perfect persona for you. If you want the persona playbook, comment wherever you're watching this. We'll make sure one of us gets it over to you guys. Anything you want to add before we wrap up?
I think I would just say like that was 20 minutes us doing that. And I think that this is one of those huge investments that you can make into your company if you don't have this yet. Like it just makes everything going forward so much easier. So even if you just spend an hour on this with your team, like it'll save you so much time in the future. It's such a worthwhile endeavor to go and do this.
Yeah. Keep it as a saved conversation. You can come back and edit as you get further along, or if you need to add new avatars or personas, this makes it easy. Ben, I think you're going to add?
It's the foundation for making custom GPTs as well for your own brand. If you have this as the foundation, it's just such an awesome place to build from for any sort of custom GPT or chatbot instance.
Awesome. Well, everybody, you guys have an awesome weekend. I am pumped. Next week, we're going to dive into how to create a tone document, and we will start the process of showing you how to build a custom GPT, what they are, how to take advantage of them. If you're looking for the persona one, we will put a link to it below. That is where I would start. Until next time, I hope you found this helpful. Can't wait to show you more. Take care, everybody.